The Galactic Council chamber was vast, filled with the rulers of many powerful alien races. Their eyes glowed with amusement as they looked at the small group of humans standing before them. The leader of the council, a tall reptilian creature with golden scales, spoke first. "You wish to join the Galactic Alliance," he said, his voice filled with mockery. "You? Humans." Laughter spread across the room. Some aliens pounded their tables, others shook their heads in disbelief. A human representative stepped forward. His name was Captain Elias Carter, a man with sharp eyes and a steady voice. "We have advanced far," he said. "We have conquered space travel, built great machines, and solved problems once thought impossible. We believe we are ready." The laughter grew louder. A blue-skinned alien waved a clawed hand dismissively. "Your species is young. Your technology is weak. You are nothing but children playing with fire." Another alien, with metallic silver skin, leaned forward. "If you truly wish to prove yourselves, then do the impossible," he said. "Build a Dyson sphere." The room fell silent for a moment. Even among the advanced races of the galaxy, a Dyson sphere was a legendary construction, an artificial shell built around a star to capture its energy. No species had ever completed one. It was an impossible task. The golden-scaled leader smirked. "Yes, if humans can build a Dyson sphere, we will recognize your strength. But we all know the truth." He leaned closer. "You will fail." Elias did not flinch. He knew the challenge was absurd, but he also knew one thing about humans. They never back down. "We accept," he said firmly. The laughter returned, but this time there was a hint of curiosity. The aliens thought this was a joke. No species had even come close to completing such a project. The humans would try, they would fail, and then they would learn their place. Back on Earth, the news spread like wildfire. Some thought it was a trap. Others called it madness. But deep down, every human felt something else. Pride. They had been mocked, insulted, and looked down upon. Now they had a chance to prove the entire galaxy wrong. World leaders met in secret. Scientists gathered. Engineers worked day and night. The greatest minds of Earth united under one mission: to build the impossible. The first step was finding the right star. The team chose a red giant on the edge of the galaxy, far from prying eyes. If they failed, no one would see. But if they succeeded, the whole universe would witness history. Massive ships carried materials across space. Factories were built on distant moons, producing the countless metal plates needed for the structure. Robots and workers began assembling the first section. But the challenge was greater than anyone imagined. The intense heat of the star melted early prototypes. Radiation damaged machinery. Supply chains struggled. Even the best human technology seemed too weak. Across the galaxy, aliens watched and laughed. News reports mocked humanity's efforts. "They will give up," they said. "They will break." But humans were different. When others saw failure, they saw a challenge. When others stopped, they pushed harder. New heat-resistant alloys were developed. Shielding technology was improved. Artificial intelligence was programmed to assist construction. The impossible was being made possible, step by step. Then, the first disaster struck. A major section collapsed, falling into the star's gravity well. Hundreds of workers were lost. The world mourned, and for the first time, doubt spread. Was this truly beyond human capability? Had they accepted a challenge that could never be won? But even in the face of tragedy, humanity did what it always did. It endured. Elias Carter stood before the world and spoke. "They laugh at us. They expect us to fail. But we are humans. We don't stop. We don't surrender. We build." And so, with renewed determination, they pressed forward. The aliens continued to mock them, but some began to watch more closely. A few even started to wonder, what if the humans actually succeeded? In the cold darkness of space, metal plates locked into place, and the first true section of the Dyson sphere stood. shining against the light of the star. The impossible had begun. The galaxy had laughed at Earth, but soon they would fall silent. The workers floated in the void, staring at the massive steel plates before them. Sparks flew as robotic arms welded structures into place. In the distance, the dying red giant burned like an angry god, its heat pressing against their shields. Humanity had never attempted anything like this before, and yet here they were, pushing forward despite the impossibility of their task. The first real section of the Dyson sphere had been completed, a massive ring curving around a fraction of the star. It was nothing compared to the full design, but it was proof that humanity could build in the depths of space. The Galactic Council had expected them to fail by now, but humans were known for their stubbornness. Captain Elias Carter stood aboard the command station orbiting the construction zone. He watched the live feeds of workers securing panels and drones assembling framework. His team had spent months overcoming the first wave of challenges, but he knew greater problems were still ahead. A message arrived from Earth's High Command. The Council is watching closely. They still believe we'll fail. Elias smirked. Let them watch. We're just getting started. The next phase required expanding the ring, increasing its size until it could support the first energy collectors. Earth had poured everything into this project: resources, manpower, and technology, because failure was not an option. The eyes of the galaxy were upon them. New supply ships arrived daily, carrying raw materials mined from asteroids and moons. Factories operated at full capacity, producing reinforced plates strong enough to withstand the gravitational pull of the star. Scientists worked tirelessly, refining shielding technology to prevent radiation from frying their systems. But then, without warning, something went wrong. Alarms blared as a section of the newly built ring buckled. A structural collapse sent debris flying into space. Emergency thrusters fired, trying to stabilize the damaged area. Workers scrambled to safety as the collapse threatened to spread. If the ring failed now, months of progress would be lost. Elias shouted into the comms, "Get those stabilizers online." Now, a team of engineers in exosuits rushed to reinforce the failing structure. They attached new support beams, sealing cracks before they could expand. Automated drones worked alongside them, welding and securing. Minutes felt like hours, but finally, the structure held. The workers cheered. Disaster had been avoided, but just barely. Elias exhaled. That was too close. Later, as he reviewed the footage, something caught his eye. The collapse hadn't been random. The structural failure had started at a point that had already been reinforced days ago. That shouldn't have been possible. A terrible thought formed in his mind. "Run a scan," he ordered. "I want a full diagnostic of that section." The results came back quickly. What they found sent a chill through the command team. The collapse wasn't due to faulty materials or human error. It had been caused by external interference. Sabotage. Someone, or something, wanted them to fail. Elias clenched his fists. The Galactic Council had given them this challenge as a joke. But now, someone was actively trying to stop them. That meant one thing: humanity was succeeding. And that terrified whoever was pulling the strings. Elias Carter stood on the command deck, staring at the holographic projection of the damaged section. The repairs had held, but that wasn't what concerned him. The data didn't lie. This was no accident. Someone had deliberately weakened the support beams before they collapsed. A slow, careful sabotage designed to look like an engineering failure. The realization made his blood run cold. This project was already an impossible challenge, but now they had an enemy hidden in the shadows. He activated the secure channel. "Command, we have a problem. Someone is working against us." Earth's High Command responded almost immediately. "Are you certain?" "Beyond a doubt," Elias said. "If we don't find out who's responsible, they'll do it again." There was silence on the line. Then a measured response. "We'll initiate countermeasures. Proceed with caution." Caution. A simple word, but impossible in a mission like this. The next few weeks were tense. Security was tightened. Background checks were redone. AI surveillance systems scanned every inch of the structure. Yet, whoever was responsible for the sabotage had vanished without a trace. Despite the danger, construction continued. Humanity refused to stop. More sections of the Dyson sphere were being assembled, each one expanding the reach of their creation. The first energy collectors were installed, absorbing raw power from the star. It was the first true proof that their dream was becoming reality. And then, disaster struck again. A supply freighter, carrying critical materials, exploded as it approached the construction site. The blast tore through nearby worker stations, sending debris flying. Alarms blared across every frequency. Elias watched in horror as escape pods jettisoned from the wreckage. Some made it out. Others did not. "Report," he barked. An officer turned, face pale. Explosion originated from inside the ship. No distress signal. No warning. Another attack. This time, they weren't even trying to hide it. Elias clenched his fists. This was no longer sabotage. It was an act of war. The crew worked frantically to recover survivors. Engineers assessed the damage. The project had taken another hit, but it wasn't enough to stop them. Later, in the command chamber, Elias met with his top advisors. "This wasn't just sabotage," he said. "Someone is trying to erase us." A scientist, Dr. Rivera, nodded grimly. "Whoever they are, they don't just want us to fail. They want to make sure we never try again." A deep silence filled the room. Then one of the intelligence officers spoke. "We intercepted transmissions before the explosion. Scrambled, but clearly non-human." Elias narrowed his eyes. "Who?" The officer hesitated. "We don't have a full translation yet, but the signal matches a known faction, the Xelari Dominion." The name sent a ripple of unease through the room. The Xelari were one of the most powerful empires in the galaxy. They had never openly opposed humanity before, but they had also never accepted them as equals. If they were behind this, then it meant something dangerous. Dr. Rivera leaned forward. "They're afraid." Elias considered her words. "Afraid of what?" "That we'll succeed." The room fell silent again. For the first time, the true weight of their mission became clear. This was never just about proving humanity's strength. It was about power. Control. The moment the Dyson sphere was complete, Earth would hold the most advanced energy source in the known galaxy. The balance of power would shift forever. The Xelari knew this, and they were willing to kill to stop it. Elias exhaled. "Then we have two choices. We stop now," Dr. Rivera said. "Give up before we lose everything." Or, Elias said, his voice hard, "We finish what we started." The decision wasn't really a decision at all. Humanity had already come too far. They had faced ridicule, sabotage, and open attack. But they had survived. And they weren't about to back down now. Elias turned to his officers. "Increase security. Double our defenses. Every ship, every station, every worker, full protection. We're not just building anymore." His eyes burned with determination. "We're fighting." Across the galaxy, the Xelari watched. And for the first time, they realized they had made a mistake. They should have destroyed humanity when they had the chance. The Dyson sphere loomed in the darkness of space, a growing monument to human determination. The first energy collectors were fully operational, absorbing raw stellar power, channeling it through vast networks of superconductors. Humanity had proven they could build, but now they had to prove they could survive. The attacks hadn't stopped. If anything, they were getting worse. The Xelari Dominion no longer hid in the shadows. Their warships had been spotted on the edges of the system, scanning, watching, waiting. They had not declared war, but their intentions were clear. They were here to stop humanity by any means necessary. Elias Carter stood on the command deck, staring at the tactical display. Red markers indicated Xelari scout ships lingering just outside their construction zone. They were not attacking yet, but their presence was a threat in itself. Earth's High Command sent an urgent transmission. Do not engage. We cannot afford a war. Elias clenched his jaw. He understood the politics, but this was no longer about diplomacy. The Dyson sphere was humanity's future. If they let the Xilari intimidate them into stopping, they would never be taken seriously again. As he contemplated his next move, alarms blared across the station. Incoming. An officer shouted. Xilari strike teams, boarding crafts heading for the construction zone. Elias didn't hesitate. Deploy security forces. Do not let them reach the structure. The Dyson sphere was not defenseless. Humanity had learned from history. No great project could exist without protection. Automated turrets activated, targeting the incoming crafts. Defense drones swarmed, unleashing precise energy bursts. Some enemy ships were destroyed before they could get close, but a few broke through, landing directly on the half-built structure. The battle had begun. Armed soldiers in exosuits engaged the invaders. Gunfire echoed across the framework of the Dyson sphere. Explosions rocked the station as the Xilari attempted to sabotage key structural points. Elias barked orders through the comms. Do not let them plant charges. Secure all access points. The Xilari were elite warriors, stronger and faster than humans. But what they didn't count on was humanity's ability to adapt. The engineers, the builders, people who had never held a gun, picked up tools, turned construction equipment into weapons. Welding torches became flamethrowers. Mining drones were reprogrammed to attack. Every human in the structure fought as if their lives depended on it. Because they did. Dr. Rivera, stationed at a security hub, worked frantically to disable the Xilari's hacking attempts. The enemy wasn't just attacking physically. They were trying to take control of the Dyson sphere's systems. They're targeting the energy collectors, she shouted. If they overload them, the whole structure could collapse. Elias's blood ran cold. The Xilari weren't trying to conquer the Dyson sphere. They were trying to destroy it. Rerouting security drones, he ordered a direct strike on the Xilari saboteurs. Automated gun turrets unleashed a deadly barrage. Explosions lit up the framework as enemy forces fell back. The humans pushed harder, refusing to yield an inch. Then, a final desperate move. The Xilari leader, a towering figure in dark armor, activated a beacon. A signal shot into space. Within minutes, new red markers appeared on the tactical display. More enemy ships were arriving. This wasn't a raid. This was an invasion. Elias gritted his teeth. They had only minutes before reinforcements overwhelmed them. He made a choice. Activate the collectors at full capacity, he ordered. Dr. Rivera's eyes widened. That much energy will. Do it. The Dyson sphere wasn't finished, but what had been built was functional. If the Xilari wanted to destroy it, humanity would show them what they were dealing with. The energy collectors surged, drawing raw power from the star at unprecedented levels. Bright beams of solar energy channeled through the structure. The space around them trembled as the Dyson sphere roared to life. The Xilari ships arriving in the system were caught off guard. Their sensors overloaded, their ship shields flickered. They had come expecting a half-built ruin. Instead, they'd found a weapon. Elias gave the final order. Fire. The excess energy, originally meant to be stored, was redirected. Massive energy pulses shot out from the structure, striking the Xilari fleet. Their ships were not prepared. The first wave of reinforcements was wiped out before they could react. The remaining ships turned and fled. The Xilari on the structure, seeing their forces retreat, tried to escape. They failed. Humanity gave no mercy. As the last Xilari fell, silence filled the command center. Elias exhaled, gripping the console. Status. Dr. Rivera checked the readings. The collectors held. Barely. They had won. But this was just the beginning. The Xilari Dominion had tried to destroy them and failed. Now, the entire galaxy knew what had happened. And Elias knew what would come next. The Xilari wouldn't run forever. They would return. And next time, they wouldn't underestimate humanity. The Dyson sphere stood resilient, a testament to human ingenuity and defiance. The battle had been won, but Elias knew better than to celebrate. The Xilari Dominion would return, and next time, they wouldn't come in small strike teams. They would bring a fleet. Earth's High Command sent an encrypted message. Reinforcements en route. Hold position. Elias scoffed. Hold position. Against an empire. They had survived because they had fought like desperate animals, turning construction tools into weapons and a half-built megastructure into a battlefield. That luck wouldn't last. Dr. Rivera approached, holding a datapad. We have about a week before the Xilari regroup. Maybe less. Elias ran a hand through his short, sweat-drenched hair. Not enough time. We could evacuate, she suggested, though the doubt in her voice was clear. He turned to her. Would you abandon everything we built? She sighed. No. Then we fight. The workers who had once welded steel and programmed energy grids now carried rifles and modified mining drones into war machines. Engineers repurposed defense drones into autonomous combat units. The Dyson sphere wasn't just a construction site anymore. It was a fortress. But a fortress wouldn't be enough. Late into the night cycle, Elias stared at the tactical map. The Dyson sphere had absorbed enough solar energy to power an entire civilization. What if they could use that energy as a weapon? An idea struck him. A wild, reckless idea. Rivera, he called. She glanced up from her console. That tone in your voice means trouble. Elias smirked. What if we turned the sphere into something more than just a defensive structure? What if we made it the most powerful weapon the galaxy has ever seen? Her eyes narrowed. Go on. If we reroute the energy collectors through a controlled lens, we could create an energy beam powerful enough to vaporize a fleet. Rivera's face paled. You're talking about turning the Dyson sphere into a superweapon. He nodded. Exactly. She hesitated. We'd need to reconfigure the energy grid. That would take time. We don't have time, Elias said. Can it be done? She bit her lip thinking. If we focus all collectors into a single point, maybe. But it could overload. If we miscalculate, we could destroy the whole structure. Elias exhaled. Then we don't miscalculate. For the next few days, the entire workforce shifted focus. The Dyson sphere's collectors were adjusted, realigned, transformed from simple power harvesters into a network capable of focusing immense energy. Engineers designed a prototype targeting system, modifying old mining laser technology. Then the warning came. Xilari fleet detected, an officer reported. Elias's stomach tightened. How many? The display flickered, revealing the impossible. Hundreds of ships. Destroyers. Battleships. Carriers. The Dominion wasn't just attacking. They were erasing humanity's presence from this system. Rivera turned to Elias, her face tense. The weapon isn't ready. We don't have a choice. The Xilari fleet moved into formation, the cold, calculated approach. This wasn't a reckless charge. They knew they had already won. Elias activated the comms. This is Captain Elias Carter of the United Earth Federation. You are trespassing in sovereign territory. Turn back or face consequences. A response came through. Text only, a message delivered with the cold arrogance of an empire. Humanity has overstepped its place. You will be erased. Elias clenched his fists. So be it. The Xilari opened fire. Energy beams lanced through space, striking the incomplete Dyson sphere. Shields flared, but they wouldn't last long. Targeting system online. Rivera shouted. We have one shot. Elias didn't hesitate. Fire. The Dyson sphere hummed as energy surged through its collectors. Power rippled through the structure, feeding into a single point. A blinding beam of concentrated solar energy erupted from the sphere, slicing through the void. The first wave of Silari ships vanished in an instant. The second wave scrambled, breaking formation, trying to evade. But the beam moved, carving through their fleet like a blade through flesh. Panic set in. The unstoppable Silari Dominion, an empire that had ruled the stars for centuries, had never seen anything like this. Their pride had blinded them. They had assumed humanity was weak. That assumption had cost them everything. The survivors fled. The mighty Silari fleet, once poised to wipe out humanity, was now running for its life. Elias watched, breathing heavily. His hands trembled. They had done the impossible. Rivera stared at the display, shaking her head in disbelief. We just changed the balance of power in the entire galaxy. Elias nodded. And now, everyone knows. Across the stars, news of the battle spread. The story of humanity, the species that had been mocked and underestimated, had just proven that they were no longer small. They were no longer weak. They had built the impossible. And they had made sure the galaxy would never laugh at them again. The Dyson sphere stood in the void, no longer just a structure but a statement. The galaxy had seen the power humanity wielded. The Silari had learned the hard way that Earth was not to be underestimated. But victory came at a cost. Elias Carter stood on the observation deck, staring at the aftermath. The battlefield was eerily silent now, but the scars remained. Debris from shattered Silari warships floated in the distance, the remnants of a once invincible armada. The Dyson sphere itself bore the wounds of war, damaged sections, burnt-out collectors, and fractured shielding. Earth's high command hailed him. "You've done the impossible," the voice on the other end said. "The Silari are retreating across all fronts. They won't dare challenge us again." Elias exhaled. They won't forget either. That's why we're sending reinforcements. The Dyson sphere is now Earth's most valuable asset. We can't afford to lose it. Reinforcements. Too little, too late. The people who had fought here, the engineers, the builders, the scientists, had been forced to become soldiers. They had bled for this victory, and now, Earth's bureaucrats would swoop in to claim it. Elias cut the transmission. He wasn't interested in politics. Dr. Rivera joined him, looking exhausted. "We have structural damage across multiple sectors. The weapon overloaded some collectors. We need repairs, and fast." Elias nodded. "Get me a full damage report, and double security patrols. The Silari may have run, but I don't trust them to stay gone." She hesitated. "It's not just the Silari I'm worried about." Elias frowned. "What do you mean?" Rivera pulled up a data feed. "We intercepted transmissions from neutral factions. Everyone is watching us now. The Galactic Council, independent warlords, rogue fleets. We've proven we can fight back, and that means we're a threat." Elias clenched his jaw. He had been so focused on survival, on proving humanity's place in the galaxy, that he hadn't considered what came next. Power changed everything. The Dyson sphere wasn't just a technological marvel. It was now the greatest weapon in existence, a symbol of what humanity could achieve when pushed to the edge. And in a galaxy ruled by power, that meant only one thing. Humanity had just entered a new kind of war. A war of politics, of alliances, of betrayals. A war for control. In the depths of space, far from the Dyson sphere, a secret meeting was taking place. A shadowy figure sat at the head of a long table, surrounded by representatives from various alien factions. Holographic displays showed the footage of the battle, the moment the Dyson sphere unleashed its terrifying power. A Silari envoy, still seething from their defeat, spoke first. "Humanity has defied the natural order. This abomination must be destroyed before it shifts the balance of power forever." A reptilian warlord, scales shimmering under the dim light, let out a hissing laugh. "You tried to destroy them, and they burned your fleet. What makes you think another attack will work?" The Silari envoy's eyes darkened. "We underestimated them. We won't make that mistake again." Another alien, an elder from the Galactic Council, leaned forward. Direct assault has failed. A different approach is needed. Humanity must be contained. A rogue merchant, whose business thrived on chaos, smirked. Or controlled. Whispers spread across the room. Plans were forming. Assassinations, sabotage, economic manipulation, diplomatic isolation. If brute force couldn't crush humanity, then deception and subterfuge would. Back at the Dyson sphere, Elias stood in the control center, watching new reports flood in. Strange disruptions in their supply lines. Unexplained malfunctions in critical systems. Political pressure from factions that had once ignored humanity entirely. The war wasn't over. It had just changed. Dr. Rivera entered, looking grim. "You need to see this." She played a transmission intercepted from deep space. A deep, alien voice echoed through the room. Humanity has taken its first step beyond its place. Now, the galaxy will decide if they rise, or if they are erased. Elias exhaled slowly. Let them come. He turned to the vast Dyson sphere outside the window, still standing strong despite everything thrown at it. They had built the impossible. Now, they would fight to keep it.